So, hello everyone. Good evening. What week is this? Nasa week 8. Mas malalim na tayo. We're already past midterms. Okay, so last week was yung submission ng midterms nyo. And there were some people na nag-message na di sila nakapag-push or something. The thing is, I can't really accept mga yun dahil ilang beses na ako nag-extend ng deadline, right? But you could have gone through that problem early on. So, di ko siya ma-accept. Kung nag-submit kayo pero wala kayong pinush, I can't accept that. Because, as required, kailangan may na-push ko yun sa repository before I could check yung project nyo. Kung di nyo na-push within the deadline, then wala. Okay? So just to make it clear. Uh, yeah. Yun ang masabi ko. Okay? So anyway, kung don't worry naman too much, you can still pass pa naman as long as you do well with your finals and maybe get some bonus points for this. May mga bonus points naman dito eh. Okay? So don't worry too much, kaya pa naman pumasa. So um, before I start yung sa NavMesh, I want to discuss muna yung final project natin, which is a tower defense game. So, kung naroon nyo si Bloons, Tower Defense, yun yun. Uh, you should be able to see this in your big sky, but I'll open it here. Okay. So, tower defense, like Maka TD, which is a very, very old Warcraft 3 custom map game. Baka di nyo pa nabutan to. But, you're gonna build this from scratch. May mga provided assets naman, or you can always get from online. So, yung requirement man dito is to create the full game and just not a prototype. So, kailangan may UI, UX kayo and that the game is balanced or as balanced as you can make it. You could watch yung video reference, but it's just really basically a tower defense game. Think of it about any tower defense yun. So, the game objective is may waves kayo. I think total waves of 10. As long as you will lose if your base gets destroyed or like as in mabot kayo ng 0 HP. Manalo kayo if you killed all the enemies. I'm not sure kung may boss ba to. Yeah, none. Okay? So each time an enemy reaches the base, minus 1 point from your life. Okay? So you have starting gold. You have the towers. So the towers are built via UI. So you're just gonna click some things. So there's a UI and the build mechanic is very similar to Command and Conquer. So you'll have some UI where if you click on the button, it'll select that tower. Then if you click on the place uh, to spawn a tower, it'll spawn there. So you can not use the tower to block the pathing of monsters. So there is always a buildable place. It's either a terrain or a block. All right. So you have multiple kinds of towers. You have a normal arrow tower, which is it. can target any enemies and has a fast fire rate. Then you have a cannon, which is a splash damage, but only for ground monsters. So of course, you have different ranges. You have ice, where it slows down the enemies, and then you have the fire, which is also hmm? Where did you target? Where did get target fire? Oh, splash siya. Okay, well, splash siya, but it also applies a burning. So you have these two special towers. So all towers must be upgradable using gold from the wave completion bonus in killing monsters. So each time a monster is killed, you get gold. Each time a wave is done, you get gold. So upgrading will make the tower stronger depende sa tower type. So you have here naman kung what each upgrade does. Like example for arrow, you have +1 on the fire rate, +1 on damage. For the cannon, should have a bigger splash radius, maybe higher damage. So I think this is up to you kung anong ano. You can make it simple lang. Pwede bigger splash damage or a much more slower debuff or much higher damage for the burning. Uh, you can do that. Question so far? None. Okay. So there are two types of monsters. If you noticed, you have I was saying here na you can only target ground monsters.
Um, Sir,
Ah,
hello?
yes.
Sir?
Yes.
I had a question in the chat,
Ah,
or not there, the other, sorry.
yes, it's being recorded. Pwede po may custom tower kami. Sure, kung may time kayo gumawa ng custom tower, go lang. But I would suggest focusing muna on the yung required. Any more questions? No. Sige, I'll check it out later na. Uh-huh. So, monster type, flying or ground. AI pathing. So, monsters spawn in certain places, one by one. So, after monsters spawn, it will follow a specific path which leads to the core. So, this path, we're going to use NavMesh, which I'll be teaching later. Increasing difficulty. So, each wave, there should be a difference in how on the HP of the monster and the gold that you get from uh, both the wave and the enemy. So it increases each time for each wave. So kayo na bahala kung how you should balance this difficulty. Either +2 HP, +5, up to you. Ah, so may boss nga to. So every 5 or 10 stages, a boss will spawn along the horde of monsters. So the difference with this boss is it has a higher HP, and if it reaches the core, it's an instant lose. Okay, so parehas nga to sa Ground Probe 2. Okay, so you have ground, you have flying, and you have a boss. The ground and flying, when they reach the core, it's just -1. But again, for the boss, it will instantly game over when it reaches the core. Alright, so kayo na bala kung how much HP it will have, because all the balancing will be up to you guys. This one is just bonus. if you wanna go through it. So bonus points is basically you're able to use the some powers wherever you're aiming at. You'll either do the meteor or apocalypse or be precise. So it has different cooldowns, but again, this is just bonus. Kayo bala kung if you want to follow this. All right, questions so far? We have to follow the basic tower range rules like radius around the tower, or can you make it area in front of tower style in some gotcha tower games? Sure, you can do that. But you can use a box in front, box collider instead of a sphere collider around the tower. Okay lang. As long as you follow. As long as you follow the required stuff, the range, the fire rate. So range, if you want just a short range, so you have a shorter area, a shorter box instead of the usual box. Okay. Any more questions? 2D or 3D? 3D. You're gonna make a 3D game. It is way easier 3D. Plus, you're gonna use NavMesh, so there's that. You have to follow those tower types. Follow these. I would say follow these tower types: arrow, cannon, ice, fire. So it really has to have like additional effects when it hits the enemy. Any more questions? None. Okay. So if you check our deadlines, it already says here it's already June next week. I mean this 29th. I could extend by 1 week, pero that is cutting it na. Let's say 23 because I know this is already finals week. Finals. Let us open sys calendar activities. Finals is 21 to 26. Yeah, I could extend it until Wednesday. Medyo alangan na yun 26. So that may time pa kayo to, to, if you have any questions with your grades. Alright? Pero let's try to stick with 19 as the last. Kung hindi kaya, then of course, 20 23 is final. Alright? Uh, but yeah, that is, oh wait. Okay, yeah, there's no more questions. Yeah, that's it naman for yung final project nyo. Actually, medyo kaya naman to in, well, 2 weeks if you, well, 1 week if you really focus, but 2 weeks, kaya pa. Pwede nyo tapusin in 2 weeks. Do you have to make your own map? Yes, you make your own map. You can make it as simple as just making boxes. You could decorate it if you want. Go lang. Isang level. Yes, just one level. You only have one level and has only 10 waves. Okay? It's just one level lang naman eh. If you check this out, may wave pa. Walang required wave. Pero alam ko 10 waves eh. You just have to create 10 waves in the same level. Straight line yung map. require ba? I'm not sure to require you to create a complicated map. Let me check. Concept minimap. Actually, kahit walang minimap eh. Hindi mo to required. Yeah, I don't see any requirement of a complicated map. It doesn't also require you to have two bases. So okay, yeah. Sure, you can make a straight line. Maybe affects your user experience, straight map. If you can balance it out, sure. If it's too easy, minus kayo sa user experience. Masyadong madali. Kung di required, sir, wag nyo lang ilagay. Yeah. I would just say kung ano na required dito. Yung minimap, I don't think I want the minimap. Masyado ng extra na yun yung minimap. We can choose not to have a minimap. Aesthetic, polish. Ayun na, polishing oh. So kung tsaka aesthetics, minus kayo kung boxes lang ang gamit nyo. Or kapag straight line tapos puro boxes. Ay nako, aesthetics, mababa yun. Not required. Particle effect, not required. No, you could have. I would say focus more on the requirements than itong si final part. Ito, kung ano na lang madagdagan nyo sa aesthetics. You don't have to follow. But you just maybe kung ano kaya nyo lagyan. Okay? I would suggest focus more on the requirements. Sir, do we need paggamitin animation sa Unity? Not need, but it affects your aesthetic. Okay, so it's not needed. Ang grade sa aesthetics should be only 10% out of 100. Should be. Let me double check ano yung ginagamit ng Rubik dito. Wala naman lang yun dito. Well, requirement. Yeah, it should be just minus 10% lang. Paano po sir kung game art direction is boxes? Okay. Dapat maganda yung boxes mo. Dapat may texture. Kita mo nga si Blackhead ba yan? Puro boxes lang naman yung ulo nila pero may texture yung gamit nila. Meron po ba kami di pwede gamitin na ma-asset? So again, you're trying to create a publishable game. If your game is not appropriate, then no. Okay? Try to make an appropriate game. Copyright rules? Not really. No copyright rules. Just a what I would say publishable game. Di man kailangan may copyright. You can copy off whatever. You can go get Hatsune Miku. You can go get Arc Knights. I'm fine with that. As long as it's not something na inappropriate. No. Hindi naman to incendium. Di natin to ipapakita sa sa mga tao. Don't worry. Any more questions? Or clarifications? Try mo mag-sign in ka sa ano, sa Google before ano, before retrying. Sign in na. Kaya ko i-access. Yung iba ba nakapag-access sa document na yun? The one under final project, tower defense? Yun, hindi nga sa akin to eh. Try mo sa G Drive muna. Try to sign in to your G Drive. Baka kasi gumagamit din ng ano, ng Windows Edge? No. There's opens here naman eh. If not, then I can get the file for this na lang. Post ko na lang dito. If di mo talaga ma-access. Any more questions? Clarification? None. Okay? No more questions? All clear? If that's clear, we can proceed to our topic, which is NavMesh. So, this is, naka-video naman to. So, yung mga kailangan nyo umalis, go ahead. I don't mind. Kung kailangan nyo umalis. Okay? So, you can always watch this naman. So, what is NavMesh first? Si NavMesh is a way for AI to move from one place to another which will follow yung map nyo. Because um, let's say we have a floor here, a basic floor of like this. Sure, okay lang to. They can easily move from one place to another. But what happens if we have something blocking the way? Let's say there's a cube or a obstacle blocking here. Let's make it larger pa. Right? And they have to walk from here to here. With our code na to just move your transform from here to here, that's a problem because we should have an obstacle that's blocking them. With NavMesh, it is able to calculate the shortest distance from one point to another given there are obstacles around. All right. So that's the good thing about NavMesh. It is a mesh. So again, parang to. This is a mesh. This whole thing is a mesh, this cube. Ang NavMesh, like imagine a flat plane that goes through wherever you set. Imagine a flat plane that changes depending on with the obstacles that are present. So imagine because of this obstacle, it will create a empty nav mesh here, meaning the AI will say na I am unable to move here, so it will instead calculate to go around. All right, so that's the use of nav mesh. In order to have nav mesh, you have to first here. Ito. you could simply add a component na NavMesh. So you have NavMesh agent, NavMesh obstacle. So this is actually missing something, which is the surface. So if you like add this here, you will note it'll say install AI navigation package. So let's install that one. Install. There, it's creating it. It's installing it. Okay. So now we should have NavMesh surface, NavMesh obstacle, agent, link, modifier volume. Okay. So what's important here is NavMesh agent, NavMesh obstacle, and NavMesh surface. So surface is what we need to create the walkable places for the AI. So example, you have this cube, right? If I do NavMesh surface, parang walang nangyari, di ba? Let me just zoom in a bit. Parang walang nangyari. Pero if you do bake, you will see this blue thing. This blue thing is your nav mesh surface. So you see those you see those lines. Para siyang nag-create siya ng mga polygon stuff. And you'll notice it actually created a nav mesh around this cube because it's blocking a ray. If I remove this and I bake this again, ayan, wala na yung empty space. Okay? So that's that. Oops, sorry. So that's nav mesh surface. So we use this surface for creating yung actual map nyo. In this case, like for our tower defense, we want this for your map, your surface. Okay? So that's nav mesh surface. So nav mesh agent, that is your player. Sorry, that will be your enemy because they need to know how to get from one point to another. So let's create our enemy. Here's my enemy. I will give it a nav mesh agent. And you'll notice if I position this back to 0, 0, medyo di siya kita. Let me just hide this muna. Ayan. You have this cylinder. So what is this cylinder? This is yung obstacle avoidance. It will tell how far they should be para they won't hit the obstacle, or height in case you have like obstacle above. Okay, so that is your obstacle avoidance. So you can just leave it into 2 radius. It's up to you. So if you're gonna have a character, I mean a enemy mesh like a tank, I would suggest maybe creating a child. So this will be your tank mesh, and then this has your mesh render, mesh filter. Let's say cube. Capsule na lang. Capsule, tapos pingin natin ng material. Ayan. So ito yung tank natin. And kita natin medyo off center siya. So we could either move this up, or I believe we can offset this. Yeah, so we can do that. All right, so that's NavMesh agent. So how do we combine this NavMesh agent with our NavMesh surface? I wait, questions? Clarifications? So dito nasa add component siya. You can also add here, I believe. And dito. All right. So how do we combine this? So let's say this is our enemy. I want it to move, let's say, from wherever they are to another point. So let's create another point. This is waypoint 1. Di natin makita. So maybe, yeah, we could add this one just so we can see it. 0, 0, 0. Let's move it a bit forward. Okay, this is waypoint 1. So, gawa tayo ng script. Let's say movement. So what we need here is NavMesh agents functions. So let's say NavMesh, oops, nav, let me close this first. Nagloko siya. Okay, so nav, la, why are you not NavMesh agent? There we go. NavMesh agent. So how do we get again? How do we get a component? Anyone? How do you get a component from the game object? Tama. So it's a start or a week, up to you. You can do it as a start or you can do it as a week. Agent. Sige. Let's do a week. So this is a week. A week happens before start. Okay, just in case lang you want agad-agad makuha mo yung components. So I can do here agent is equal to get component nav mesh agent. So again, there's no difference with awake or start. Unless you want something to happen first before start happens. Okay, so I have agent. So what do we do with agent? Let's say we need nga pala yung location, no? So let's put here a public transform location. Okay, so agent dot find path, calculate path. So calculate path is the one that tells you how to get from one point to another given a target position. Let me scroll that in. All right. So calculate path. It needs a NavMesh path and a target position. My target position is location dot position. NavMesh path. We create a new one. NavMesh. Oh, well, we can put here NavMesh path. Current path is equal to new path. All right. So we put that here. So we can, you'll notice there's a boolean. True if either a complete or partial path is found. False if wala siya makuwang path. So we can also put a boolean for that if you want. Bool found path. Not required, but it's also a good way to check. Para if you found a path, agent follow, oops, set path. And then we have current path. Okay. Again, so what happened? We got yung NavMesh agent muna. So there's a thing called agent.calculatePath. This calculates how to get from one point to this point. Itong target position. And that path is stored here, current path. So if I found a path, I set the agent's path to itong current path. Okay, so let's try it out. So location, I want the location to be waypoint 1. If I press play, okay, my bad. Mukhang kailangan dito. So start. Can I call traditional movements? Script. Hold on. This is new. Cannot set. Position. Might be this one. Current path is equal to new NavMesh path. Yeah. Okay. So you'll notice our NavMesh agent started to move from what dyan? Ay! Hold on. Sorry. I don't know what happened to our tank mesh. Okay. So you'll notice that it will move from its current place towards the next position. And he has finally reached the position where I set. So if we move our waypoint somewhere else, maybe here, you'll notice it rotates and it goes towards there. Automatic. So you can change the speed if you want it to go faster. So maybe you want it to a speed of 10, and it should now move much faster towards the position. Now, what if we have a obstacle? So again, let's show our NavMesh. How's our NavMesh? Let's put our obstacle again here. We'll make it block the way of our NavMesh agent. And of course, we first bake our NavMesh surface. There. Now, there should be an empty space here. So here's an enemy, here's a waypoint, and see what happens when I press play. It will now move around the obstacle. So yan yung kagandahan ni NavMesh agent. It calculates for you on how to go from one point to another. And it calculates yung shortest path niya. You'll see here, no, nagkaroon ng hole dito. It's because our enemy was like an obstacle. So if we bake it again, there, that should be okay. We lower this, and it doesn't have that jitter at the start. Here, tingnan mo, you see it go around. Questions about this? Sir, why did the arc instead of like cutting sharply? Yes. So you see this angular speed? That's one reason why. The angular speed, it was only doing 120 degrees per second. Hence, it arced. If we do maybe a 360, it should turn much faster. A little bit. But yeah, also a bit of momentum. Stopping distance. And yeah, that's okay. Maybe we should increase it to 1000. It will. No. Parehas. Base of distance, speed. Stopping distance should be like how far will you be before it stops on the point. So I think oh, that's weird. What does stopping distance do? It's like it's not doing anything. Let me double check. Mesh, off path. Oh, weird. Auto braking. Auto braking. So you have to like play around with the NavMesh agent. There are also some limitations to it. If you want it to go instead of a sharp turn, we could potentially have a set of points, which is what I would actually recommend for your project. Because if you have multiple points, at least it's not always hugging the the obstacle just to go around. You see here, it was like going towards here, kind of hugged the the obstacle by the end. If you want it like a much cleaner around here like that, you would need to have multiple points. Then you must have a code for that. So maybe let's try that out. A list of transform. These are my locations. So put this at the very start. Now this one, current path. Let me see if status is equal to complete. If it is complete, we can actually make this into a function just to make things much cleaner, because if I did not, I would copy paste. So let's make it much more complete. Much cleaner. Private void follow path. Ah, follow next path. Okay, so let's copy that one. Okay, so if path is complete, meaning it reached the destination, we can let's see, let's just move the very first one, and then we follow if locations dot count is greater than 0, we can follow next path again. Okay, medyo advanced though a bit, but I will discuss. So what happened here is, oh wait, let me put here first, just to be safe. Current path is equal to null, return. Okay, let me just discuss this. So in here, every update, I'm checking if the status has reached complete. Meaning, naabot niya yung location niya. If it is complete, I want to go to the next one. So what I'm thinking is, this list is from point 1, point 2, point 3. So if it has reached point 1, I remove point 1 and then go to the point 2. Since yung pinaka first. Hopefully you understand that list. Gets na ba yung list? What I'm doing here? Or masyado bang advanced yun? Do I need to do the further discuss list? Silence means yes. Paint.
Sir, I think
Yes.
it would. I think like a quick going over of what list would be beneficial, at least.
Okay. So a list is technically, if you remember Basprog, para siyang si vectors. You have multiple functions in using list. You have add, you have remove. You could also find. Alright, so it's a great like array thing. Because if you just use an array, okay, locations array. If you just use array, we're not able to remove. We're not able to find. We're not. Marami siyang limitations. It's only clone, copy, set value, whatever. You don't even use set value. Plus, the array size is limited. You cannot add, you cannot subtract. List though, you could choose to add more if you want. You can add more transforms into it. You can even, if I do remove at, this removes the element in the given index. In this case, I'm removing the very first one. All right. What else? I can also have, if you want a specific item to be removed, or if you have a copy of that item, you can just call remove. But in this case, I don't have it, so I'm just saying remove the very first. Okay, so it's very useful array. You have so much stuff here that you can use also. All right. So what does it look like in Unity? You should have, this looks the same, right? Pares lang sila. Pero code-wise, this has more um, capabilities compared to this. Okay? Kasi if I wanted to use this, I must have something like a int current index pa. And then I would plus it, and then that my next location should be the current index, whatever. Right? That's one way. Or I could just do this. Okay. So they're both acceptable. There is nothing wrong if you want to use a traditional array from a list. There is nothing wrong. If you want to use this, okay lang. No problem. Questions? So, sige, while I'm waiting for that, what all I'm doing here is I'm making it go to the position of the very first element. And you'll notice that since I'm always removing the very first element, it will go to the next element. All right, so imagine this is, uh, let me, 1.2, 8.3. And then let's add that to our enemy. So imagine this. I'm going to waypoint 1. I've reached waypoint 1. I said here, remove at 0. I remove this. How do I move? I cannot remove. No way I cannot remove. Ah, there. I remove that one. And now I am in waypoint 2. This is at element 0. So now I will go here. I reached waypoint 2. I remove at 0. I am now at waypoint 3. So that's all I'm doing. If I were going to use this again, I would use a index kind of counter and then just plus plus. Now check here if my index counter is more than the size of this, then I mean if it's less than the size of this, then I'll do this. Alright. So both are okay. Will you be sending the sample code para may basis and ma-comprehend or not? Sure, I can upload this. Uh so yeah, I'll show you what it looks like if I use this one. And index current index. So this is what it looks like. Current index plus plus. If current index is less than location array dot length, meaning I am still within the length of the array, I will do follow path. And in here, instead of 0, I will do bool found path is equal to agent dot calculate path locations array current index dot position current path. There. So that will be the changes if I use the traditional or the normal array instead of list. They both work. They both work the same way. In fact, it's even the same amount of code. So, sige, let's try that out. Let me just comment this out first para di ako ma-confuse. There. So waypoint 1, I want this here. waypoint 2 there, waypoint 3. Let's move this here. So hopefully this all works. Uh, Let me lock this so that I can select this, and oh, I cannot. I guess isa-isahan. Waypoint 1, waypoint 2, and waypoint 3. So let's see if this works. Wait, where's waypoint 1? Waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3. Pumunta agad siya sa waypoint 3. Let me let me just public this. If current paths equal to path complete. Ah. Never mind. Path complete is not right. Path. Nako. Not status. Status corner. Yee. Okay. What I will do instead is what do I have here? Corners? No. Click corners. Ugh. Sige nga. What I will do, location array, current index, not position. Sorry, vector 3 dot distance, this position, and our enemy's position is less than 1. Ayan. So if it is near na, it will change its current index. And you'll see it hugged the corner. And finally, ayun. Di ako nag-check. Index is outside. I should have a or current index is greater than or equal to locations array dot length. Ayan. So, my bad. Hindi pala hindi pala yung status. Status, I guess, is if the path is correct. But it doesn't dictate if it has reached its destination. Finally, mabot dito, wala tayong error. Yon. Okay? So, I would suggest this one. Either you want to use list or use transform array. Up to you. What else? Example, wala si ano eh. Agent dot get component, reset path. There's none here that says if it has reached its destination. Walkable is on NavMesh. Yeah, wala siya. Wala siyang anything for that. Which sucks, but we use what we can. Questions? Clarification? So if like S line po ba, mag-cut na siya or is it just a straight line? If S, I'm guessing when you say S, like, ooh, wrong. Cube. So bear with me as I create our S here. Janky, Janky S. And then reach. You know what? I think a C would be fine. C. And then just siguro naman this is the shorter path, no? Waypoint 1. Let's move it up here. Let's move our enemy down here. So oops, sorry. I forgot to bake our floor. Bake. There we go. Play. And it should. Yeah, it should follow. So you'll see it's hugging. It's hugging the corners, which is not really nice to look at. So if you don't want it to hug corners, we must set waypoints so that it will stay relatively to the center of the path. Where's waypoint 3? Waypoint 3 is here. If I press play, our NavMesh should now kind of be in the middle. I don't like the cornering. That sucks. There has to be a way to stop it from doing that. Stopping distance, acceleration. Ugh. So I'm not sure if there's a way to stop that. There has to be a way somewhere. Maybe a nav mesh something. Nav mesh. None. Okay. So you can play around with that. Actually, di ko pa na tinatry itong ano eh. Itong NavMesh modifier volume. But I'm thinking it works by giving it a volume. So NavMesh volume. I'm not sure if you can see it from there. There's a box here. So if you want a volume instead, there's no bake. Yeah, no idea. No idea what if I volume does. So you have to play around with this. Okay. Questions? Clarification? Slight Twitter logo. Questions? Clarification about NavMesh? So it's useful. I'll say it's pretty useful. You could have done the normal like go from here to here. Tapos you just set the location, right? Pwede naman yun. But at least this one you don't have to think about like obstacles. It'll automatically do it for you. Cube here. Bake. Yeah. That's it lang. Questions? That's why. Kaya pala. I was moving the tank mesh and not the actual enemy. Okay. Anyway, if there's no questions or clarification, yeah, that's it lang for the nav mesh. I can push this. Let me just change this for the other one. Instead of location array, I would say if locations dot length is equal to 0. Or count pala, sorry, count. But anyway, yeah. So if there's no questions or clarifications, that's it for today. I will upload this later. I could also upload this demo so you have something to try out. All right. So yeah, that's it for today. You guys can go. I hope you have. So ilang maps mo kailangan gawin? One. Just one map. Basta may 50 waves. After 50. Where did that come from? There, basta 10 waves. Okay, basta 10 waves lang. Okay? So again, if there's no other more questions, clarification, that's it for today. You guys can go have your evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Also, I switched devices. Sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you, sir.
See you guys soon.
Thank you po, sir.
Uh, sir,